Hello, I'm Yuchen Qing from Team MedBots. Now we want to show our team project, Clinical Decision Support System. Our system is designed for helping doctors prescribe the most appropriate medications for patients. Our end users are doctors and clinical executives. In each visit, doctor will ask patients' current medication, condition, and possible allergy. Then input the information into a questionnaire. Our app will check the database to give the recommended medications, the indications, the possible side effects, drug interactions, and allergies.
Hello, my name is Jianliu from Team MedBots. We are working on a web app for clinical decision support. In this web app, we use Node.js web framework. We also use Express middleware. We also use jQuery for the front-end DOM operations. The whole structure of the file system is like this. And the included package JSON shows the versions of our installed Node components. For version control and the collaboration of the coding, we port our code on the GitHub Enterprise server for Georgia Tech, so that every member in this team can contribute to the code. And I manage the Git version control. Every member in this team can clone a Git in their local machine and test and run the web app by simply using Node app. And the app is running on localhost 3000 port.
Hello, I'm Kanishko Mandal. I have a tremendous pleasure working with the MedBots team as part of the healthcare informatics course. I got an opportunity to contribute to the initial ideas as a part of our actual deliverable, that is building a clinical decision support system, that is a CDS application. I got an opportunity to provide the technical leadership to the team. So we started with GitHub repo, where we brainstormed a lot, and the first thing which struck me was how to extract the important drugs data from the sites like NLM and NIH. So I extracted lots of meaningful sample data and stored them into the MongoLab open source online website, so that it is always accessible by all the individual developers. So as we see here, I converted the drugs data into a meaningful format which provides the indications, contradictions, precautions, side effects, interactions, all this information, which are really essential for taking important decisions about the current symptoms or conditions a patient is having. Now, after capturing all this information into the data store, I got an opportunity to actually implement the corresponding API. So I provided the actual implementation inside the drug search code, where it simply queries the backend database, it begins the symptoms, and sends back the relevant information. At the same time, I worked on two different kinds of REST API. One is the drugs REST API to query the drugs data, and there is the FAR REST API to query the FAR resources. Now we can see the live demo, how this API implementation works. So for example, if we try to find the details for an existing symptom or a new symptom complained or reported by a patient, we can see all the relevant informations like against which symptoms. I mean, what kind of drugs are useful for the symptom, what are the precautions, and you can also. So similarly, I got a chance to work on a for API. So assuming a patient has logged in with an ID, specific ID, so we can actually find out all the medical conditions that patient had in the past, so that we can contrast and compare uh, and suggest the relevant medicines to that patient. When a patient complains about, say, critical shortness of breath, we can say, hey, looks like you had that same problem in the past, so we can take various steps of decisions. So all this information I tried to document in this GitHub repo that we had so far, and I got an opportunity to deploy the applications to AWS, to a readily available website what TAs and the teachers can constantly evaluate.
Hello, my name is Shin Q from Team MedBots. For this project, I've got a chance to work on the front-end development.
Here, I'm going to go over our user interface design. Since our CDS app is meant to help doctors facilitate their practice, we want the user experience to be as simple and efficient as possible. We definitely don't want the doctors to spend much time on learning a complex system. So after login, the doctor will see a dashboard that is based on the classic Bootstrap admin theme. We decided to use this style because it's streamlined, yet also aesthetically pleasing for an app. So, on a dashboard, doctors can review all information from FHIR server, including patient counts, encounters, prescription counts, and observations. They can also review some recent activities such as adding patients, prescriptions, and patient conditions. Besides being able to view any other static information, the main feature of our app is to display the optimal health recommendation result for the patient based on the information they provide to us. So here's the health questionnaire page, which is where we will collect the information. The basic scenario will be like this. The doctor will sit down with the patient and they can work on with the form together. We want to make this process as simple as possible so that this doesn't simply replace the common diagnosis by the doctor. Therefore, we only ask for a set of 4 questions to compile the optimal health recommendation result. After entering the information, the app will display the recommendation results. Other team member will be explaining the backend scripting of this feature.
Hi, my name is Anthony Manuel, and I'm also part of the MedBots team. So my role here is more on the back-end side, creating APIs for the application. So we're using Express, Node, and our database is MongoDB. Specifically, we use the Mongo Lab to store our data, and we actually were able to obtain data on some drugs, including some information on the drugs, including indications, precautions, interactions, and side effects. So what we wanted to do is we wanted to have an API that's able to pull out the drugs based on indications and like side effects. So one of the APIs I worked on is the side effect. So if we wanted to find a drug that causes nausea, we can go to this API, this RESTful address here, and then we can retrieve those drugs that has that nausea side effect. So basically, if we're trying to search for a different side effect, like diarrhea, for example, then we can retrieve the drugs that has that side effect. So we only have a small sample set, but if we had more data, then we would have a huge number of drugs that we can search for. So yeah, that's primarily my role, just working on the API. I've also worked on incorporating the FHIR data to our application. So we're trying to search medications for the patient because we wanted to see the history of the prescribed medications for each patient. So that's something that I also worked on. And that's pretty much it. So that's primarily my role in the team. Thank you very much, and it's been a pleasure working with this team so far. So thanks.
Hi, my name is Moses Morjane, and I'm with Team MedBots. I'm sure all of you are wondering, how does this app work, and have we tested it or not? So I'll go over very quickly on a couple of test methods we put together. One of the tools I used was Selenium, where I was able to automate the web page to perform all the tasks by going through all the text boxes, the links, checking for images, and doing assertions on the text. As you see, it's going through each of the pages. I also checked through different web browsers. As you can see, I checked to see if this works on a mobile. Looks pretty good on mobile. Tested out different test cases that way. And then I also checked on Chrome and Safari. On top of that, I did create some documentation for quality assurance. I put together a user manual to make sure that people are able to use this app and are aware of how to do it. And lastly, I put all of my documentation on a test plan page on the GitHub server. So you can see the test cases results for the functionality test, Selenium test cases, and then I was also able to check for the server testing through Mocha, where I was able to see how it cooperated with the server locally. So this is how I tested out everything. Everything seemed to work on there, and hope you guys enjoy the app.